You know what? I don't care what anybody says. I liked it. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a brand new supernatural horror film directed by Tammi, starring Josh Hutcherson, Elizabeth Lail, and Matthew Lillard. And you know, this is a franchise now with there being two movies that I just sort of enjoy. It's a fun time. You know, I wasn't a fan of the games going into the first film, and then in between the two, I never got into the games or anything like that. So I know that there are a bunch of franchise fans out there, a bunch of fans of the video games that go to this movie and they look for Easter eggs and they're like all about it. Me, I just like watching horror films, and the idea of these animatronic things coming to life and attacking people is awesome. And after watching the first film and enjoying it, and then hearing that they were making a sequel, I got really excited because the sequel always just means things are gonna go in a new direction. Things are gonna get bigger and bolder, you know what I mean? And so I was looking forward to seeing where they took this thing, and you know, tonight I got invited to a screening to check out Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and my friends, this is not a good film, but I kind of loved it. And so what is up, my friends? My name is Danny. Welcome back to Jones Vibes. Today I'm talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I do just want to preface off the top that this will be a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't worry, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. As always, be sure to leave all of your thoughts down in the comments. Your opinion is always welcome around here, but without further ado, let's dive in. So the synopsis for this sequel reads, 1 year has passed since the supernatural nightmare at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Former security guard Mike has kept the truth from his 11-year-old sister Abby concerning the fate of her animatronic friends. When Abby sneaks out to reconnect with Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, she sets into motion a terrifying series of events that reveal dark secrets about the true origin of Freddy's. And look, dude, walking out of this movie, my initial thoughts were like, the performances were not great. The writing, not great. The plot was not great. But it was sort of an amazing time. And that's what a horror sequel should be. Nowadays, there's so much pressure on horror films because horror has gotten so good for them to be spectacular, both critically as well as just energy-wise. You know what I mean? You have to capture an audience in multiple types of way. This movie, however, is a blast from the past for me, going back to that era of campy, cheesy horror sequels. I grew up in a time where these sequels would come out and you'd be like, does it need to exist? I don't know, maybe not. But am I happy it exists? Absolutely. I think anybody who has seen the first movie knows that when you step into this franchise, when you step into a film with this franchise, you kind of have to throw plausibility out the window, right? These are big animatronic things. They're walking towards you at the slowest pace possible. So you're like, they could just run away. It's so easy, but they don't. And that's the fun of it. You know what I mean? This is a horror film. And I think the thing that is so special about it to me is that it's a horror franchise aimed at a younger audience, you know? The screening that I went to tonight, there was a lot of young people in the crowd, and they were having a great time, and that's what you love to see, you know what I mean? I'm sure there were a lot of critics in the audience, like myself, that might have a furrowed brow and be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? But at the same time, you can't help but just smile at how lighthearted and ridiculous and dumb this film is. It's such a bad movie, but it's like it knows it's a bad movie. It knows exactly what it is, and I'm very much hoping that we get more of these films in this franchise that know exactly what they are. And I know you're probably listening to this, hearing me call it dumb, and you're like, well, wait, didn't you say that you liked it? You have to understand where I'm coming from with all of this. Like, let's take a look at these performances. You have Josh Hutcherson returning as Mike. You know, he's a character that carries over. One thing that I did enjoy about this film is that it is carrying on the exact story that was happening in the first film. And it seems like, hopefully, if there are future installments, they're going to continue with that thread. But you have Josh Hutcherson, and you have Elizabeth Lail, and I hope I'm saying that right, but like, I saw them in the first movie, and I thought they were okay in the first movie, but somehow, some way in this second movie, they are so much worse. I don't know whether it was the directing, or if it was just the writing was that bad, but their performances are literally, it's really, really bad, guys. I would probably say the best performances belong to Piper Rubio, who plays Abby, who's returning from the last film, as well as Megan Fox, who was playing Chica, and she's just doing a voice acting job, but I thought she was great. There are several other performances in this movie, two of which I want to get to here in a moment because they were very special, but as for the main players here, they just couldn't really hold it up. But you know what holds the film up itself is the animatronics of it all. You have Freddy Fazbear, you have Chica, you have Foxy back in the mix, you have, I think this character was named Mangle, you have a bunch of these, and this is what I'm talking about with the video game fans, I feel like they're gonna have a field day. It sounded like a lot of people in my theater had a field day with it because there are a lot of different Easter eggs for them to enjoy. But the horror is also there, and I will say, compared to the first one, they really stepped it up with a lot of the jump scare stuff. This is a PG-13 film, so you're not seeing a lot of gruesome stuff, but they do take it there in a couple moments, specifically one with Wayne Knight. You guys know Newman, you guys know the guy from Jurassic Park who gets the ink spit all over his face. That guy has a chase scene in this film that's really, really great. And so when it comes to a cheesy horror film like this, I can look past the writing, man. I can look past some of the directing. I can look past some of the performances because I'm just there to have a great time. There are also some very nostalgic elements for some, certain horror fans out there within this film. You have Matthew Lillard, obviously reprising his role as William Afton, kind of the creator behind all of this, Vanessa's dad. But then also you have the addition of Skeet Ulrich coming into this. You have Billy and Stu together again in the same film, and although they're not sharing the screen together a ton as much as we all could hope for, you know what I mean, it is just so cool, and it makes your heart so happy as a Scream fan just to see these guys back on the big screen, just to see them involved in a horror film like this and in another horror franchise. Just the fact that they got Billy Loomis back and they added him into the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, it was so exciting. The theater gasp that I was in, everybody was having a great time with it, and so I thought that was very special. Also, with Five Nights at Freddy's, it's hard to understand kind of where they're going with the plot of this thing, because it's just like, are they going to do the same old thing? They go into the place, these things come alive, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. But no, in this one, they do take it in a different direction. It ends up having sort of a Scream type reveal towards the end, and I'll say that the third act was pretty fun. A lot of it is just kind of eye roll stuff that you have to just go with. If you're the type of person that isn't there to be a fan of the games and you didn't like the first movie and you roll your eyes at a bunch of stuff in this movie and you don't end up liking it, look, I completely get it. I really do. But as for me, I just had a great time. There are also some other actors that are in this. You have Mckenna Grace thrown into there. There's another kid, he was in that movie Presence from earlier this year, Teo Briones, I think is his name, but they play like this YouTube crew that's going and doing paranormal stuff. I really liked that, and it added a really fun element to this movie. But all in all, I thought it was a great time. I thought it was a fun time to experience it in the movie theaters. I do have a couple more things that I want to talk about. The first would be just that. I think people should get up, go out, and watch this movie. Whatever you hear, whatever you think, go have some fun on a Friday or Saturday night and watch a cheesy horror film. And maybe try to relax a little bit and just let it wash over you. Let it wash over you in all of its ridiculousness. Because at the end of the day, this film is very clear in its message that it is just that. It is just a dumb movie. It's there just to please the fans and allow people to check out for an hour and a half. It's a short run time. It's a really good time. And if people don't show up and go see this type of film out in movie theaters, they're going to stop existing. You know what I mean? And as amazing as horror films like Weapons are, you know what I mean? Amazing horror, like really well written, really well directed, all of that stuff. As amazing as those are, we still need franchise movies like this. That's why I showed heavy support to I Know What You Did Last Summer this year, because I love that. I love that side of horror. I love that side of the genre, and I hope people get out and go out and see this. If you do see it, if you do enjoy it, go tell other people to watch it. You know what I mean? But the second thing is just a post-credit scene. I want to let you guys know there is one post-credit scene, and it does sort of build towards a future. So assuming that this does make some money, there is a through-line plot that is running now that will probably take us towards a third one and possibly a fourth one. Am I secretly sort of hoping that the writing can just be a little bit better and the performances can just be a little bit better? Yes, but if it ends up being more of the same, I'm gonna go and I'm probably gonna have just as good a time. So those are my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. As always, I do have to give my Jones 5-star rating. My friends, this rating is purely from a critical perspective. I even added on half a star just because I like the movie, but I gotta give Five Nights at Freddy's 2 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's a 50% as a movie, but that doesn't mean that I didn't love it and had a great time. But if you go and see this movie, please let me know down in the comments what you thought of it. Are you excited for it? Let me know anything you want about the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. I need to learn because I don't know enough. Also, my friends, be sure to subscribe if you're new around here. I have a lot of reviews and reactions coming out soon. But more than anything, I hope you're out there keeping up the good vibes, and I will see you in the next video, all right? Peace!